Okie doke. So here is my new pedal setup, and it's kind of an extension of my instrument at this point, in that I can play a lot of sounds that originate just within the foot pedals themselves, and I can kind of accompany things. So beginning at the beginning of the chain, I have a bunch of kind of boutique fuzz pedals to get different sounds going into my effects. And I don't use amps anymore. I use Guitar Rig 5 for all of my effects and all of my amplifier simulations. So that gives me a tremendous amount of flexibility as I'm switching through patches. So anyway, I'm jumping around, but it's really separated into three kind of sections. Right here we have kind of our input devices, all of our fuzz pedals that do very different things that go into my effects. I also have a ring modulator, an eventide pitch factor that goes into Guitar Rig. And then with Guitar Rig, once it's in there, I have controller pedals here and here, which are pressure sensitive and directionally sensitive, that can control any effects that I have within my laptop. Additionally, I have a controller pedal that looks like a wah, but really is a voltage controller that I like a ton, that I can control just about any effect that I want to with that as well. And then the third piece is the patch controller itself. So this allows me to change patches and complete setups as I click through those patches as well. So whereas before I used to do a lot of patch switching here, now I'm doing a lot of effects switching through these controller pedals, and that gives me a tremendous amount of control over sounds evolving within one overall sound rather than switching total patches. So again, going back to the beginning of my chain, I have a Keeley compressor that I love, works very well. I've experimented with that being both at the beginning of the chain and at the end of the kind of fuzz pedal chain here to compress the volume coming from all those pedals. Right now I'm trying it at the beginning of the chain, and that's more the traditional way to go. After that, I have an acoustic simulator that works quite well. Here, I can play a little bit of that. And that does a pretty fair job of emulating an acoustic sound from an electric guitar. It also increases harmonic content considerably, so even when you're going through your distortion pedals, that thing creates a lot of harmonic mayhem when you turn it on as well. From there, I'm going into a ZVEX Fuzz Factory, which is great for kind of a gated, low voltage fuzz sound that I use. You can hear it sounds like it's broken, and I like that sound a lot. So that's what I use that one for. That's good to just kind of have a full-on fuzz garage sound, and that pedal's great for that. Going down the chain, I have a WMD Geiger counter, and this thing is fantastic for just full-on broken sounds that are pretty indecipherable. I've since added a CV controller to this pedal just to give it a little more variety. And you can hear what it does. So basically it's a bit cruncher, and it reduces essentially the sample rate of your sound to give you very distorted sounds. It has a lot of different wave tables that can control kind of the harmonic content of the bit crunching, and then when you add the CV controller, it does this. So I love that sound. Going on down the line is a Red Witch Fuzz God. This is a great fuzz pedal. It's a little more rounded sounding, a little smoother than like the ZVEX Fuzz Factory. So now I use this these days for like a lower gain fuzz setting. So this is really my, you know, bread and butter distorted sound. So it's got fantastic sustain. It has a great kind of garagey, smooth distortion when you use it with a neck pickup. And I love this one a lot. Also, when you click on the second button, it just makes bad things happen. So, when you have this the Wrath knob fully dialed up, it'll make bad things happen. And then, there you go. So that's a pretty good second button to have. Moving on down the line, this is a new pedal that I got recently that I'm still working with, but I like quite a bit. It's the Crowther Audio Prunes and Custard, and it's a fuzz pedal, but it also does a fair amount of kind of automatic filtering as well, and I'll play you that. So that's a great, you know, slightly funkified type of sound, and that works great when you have a lot of delay effects and stuff like that, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Going on down the line, while I was just in Austin recently, I got an Experience pedal. This is something that I've looked at for a really long time, and they were kind of hard to find, and I saw it in a guitar shop in Austin that I really like a lot and go to. And it was a good find. So basically it is what you would expect it to be. It's a kind of Jimi Hendrix sound in a box, and it's giving you a full-on fuzz and Octavia type sound. So and it emulates that sound quite well, and I like that kind of organic Jimi Hendrix sound, but then put through a lot of different other effects. Then I have the ring thing, which I don't have on right now because I need to change the voltage of the connection. But the ring thing does an amazing amount of ring modulation effects that are actually pretty harmonic, not just dissonant. So it doesn't only get that Devo ring modulator sound. You can actually tune the ring modulation to a particular key to get a pretty melodic sound out of it while being completely bizarre. Then I have the Eventide pitch factor, which is just a great, very crystalline clear harmonizer, and that does a ton of different great things around harmonic pitch shifting and doubling and all that good stuff. And that's a great pedal as well. So as I get into the guitar rig patches, I mean that's where a lot of interesting things can start, because I'm able to basically program, sequence, control just about any kind of effect that I want. Guitar Rig has a lot of capabilities to add custom LFOs and custom sequencers to the controllers of your pedals. So imagine having some of these effects, but having the ability to add a square wave to a distortion, or adding touch sensitivity to the intensity of a delay. So it's able to control a host of different effects. And that's what I'm really doing down here with this pedal, which is adding not just on-off kind of effects pedals, but monetary switches as well, so I'm able to punch in and out different effects as I go. So here I think I have this jumping a fifth, so that when I'm playing, I can click this on and off. Actually, I don't click it off. I just, anytime I'm touching it, it jumps a fifth. So when I'm able to play something like this. So normally that would sound like. But adding the fifths, I'm able to do this. And I use that a lot. Definitely ripped that off from Henry Kaiser, but I love the way his sounds work, so I love that sound. Here's just a stutter effect that I've added, which basically grabs the sound that I have. This is something that I set up in Guitar Rig, and it's not unlike the Electro-Harmonix freeze pedal. If you've heard that, this works in a similar way. So as you're playing, you can go. So it adds a kind of a digital, glitchy feel to anything that you're doing, and that's a good kind of disruptive type sound to use. So this next one, and again, I have a host of different monetary effects that I have within all my patches, but this is just a handful of ones that I really like. This one is, it's a bunch of different effects all triggering at once. Some delays, a pitched reverb, I think another pitch kind of whammy pedal effect at the same time. But it's really, you press this button when you're playing small sounds and you want the sound to basically explode in a pretty kind of cinematic soundtracky feel. So I'll let you hear what that sounds like. I like to use that when you're doing pretty music and you want to ugly it up a bit. So if you're going like I love that sound. And then I've got some more traditional stuff here. Some octave effects. That sort of thing. And again, I can program this to be whatever I want. Up here, these two are pedals, are my looper, so I'm able to, you know, do looping effects and add layers as I want to do within this whole setup as well. So that's my controller, and again, I can make that anything I want it to be as we go on down the line. Another effect that I like to use a lot is I happened upon something that's called the psychedelic delay on Guitar Rig, and it sounds fine for more kind of Jimi Hendrix things, but when you control the delay time, it makes bad things happen. I think things that maybe the delay wasn't intended to do, but it gives you a really interesting, like a ring modulated effect when you dial it all the way down. And so I've assigned it to this controller pedal so I can control that. So it goes like this. So I love that sound and I use it quite a bit. Coming back over on this side, this is something new to the setup too, which is a Keith McMillan 12-step. And basically what this is an octave's worth of controller that you can play any notes with. So I haven't really incorporated this yet into my playing really, in terms of accompanying myself in any way. Right now I'm using it kind of for bursts of sound and kind of backdrops to improvisation. So, I mean, this I can trigger just about any kind of synth type sound that I want that I'm also running on my laptop as well. So here's a patch that I have set up in Native Instruments Reactor. So that's just a custom sound I did to get a good kind of sinister undertone to things as I'm improvising. And that can be pretty much anything I want. And also, I can control those sounds with these pedals as well. So it gives you kind of endless variation in how you want to create sounds. And then the interesting part is really when you use all this stuff together and start layering things on top of each other. That's when interesting stuff starts happening, and I'll maybe give you a feel for how that works too. So let me turn on some of this stuff. So that's it. That's a very brief overview of what this does. And again, the greatest thing about this is it's totally programmable. So I'm able to create completely new effects combinations that have never been used, and I'm able to layer the way that I control them through these pedals. So I love this setup, and I'm going to start using this to play some shows and do a bunch of improvising and hopefully create some sounds that haven't been heard before. So that's it. That's my setup.